Hey there everybody, I'm Ken with the Shop Mini RC, and today we're looking at this DasMikro integrated brushless ESC. So this little guy is offered by DasMikro, and this one specifically is for the FlySky Noble. As I looked on the website, I only see it for the Noble right now. So maybe they'll be coming in the future. They do have receivers for the other brands. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come in the future if people start snagging these up for the Nobles. But it's basically a FlySky receiver with a PN 18 amp brushless ESC. So you got to be able to solder with this guy. You have to solder your power leads and your motor wires. There's also some mention of breaking a solder here in the back. I don't remember which one it is, but there's a tiny, I think it's this guy right here. They mentioned you have to break that solder when trying to program the ESC. But I spoke with, I believe, the owner, and he says you may not have to, depending. But we haven't tried that yet. We haven't tried programming with the programming card. Maybe we will, but for this video, we're definitely just going to show you how to program using the set button here. There's a way to go through all the programming tables with just the set button. So we'll show you that. We're also going to get this installed on this guy. So we got our Nexx Jaguar motorcycle. It's a 1/12 scale, pretty cool. We already have one guy here. We're running a different ESC and receiver, but we wanted to try the combo here and see if we can get it mounted in here in a way that makes sense and helps balance the bike, keep it all on one side, because the motor is on the kind of weighted to this side just a little bit. So yeah, I think we're gonna go something like this basically, and run our brushless wires under the bottom here. Should work well. We will see. I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed, and then I will come back and show you, and then we will go through the programming. So this is everything it comes with. Obviously the board. You've got some servo wires, 4 servo wires, because it's a 4-channel. 2 power leads, male and a female. And then also there's these ones if you're going to use like a Mini Z style battery, like this. You basically will need to use one of these, because the Mini Z batteries only come with, basically it's like a 2-in-1. It's your power lead and your balance cable all in one. So we won't be using these because we're going to be using the Mini Z battery. We will be using one of these guys, and then obviously our brushless motor wires here. So the first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and solder up the motor wires and the power lead, and we'll be back.
A few moments later.
We're all mounted up. Just use some double-sided servo tape. We're going to run the power leads down through the inside here. That'll allow us a little bit cleaner look. Be able to figure out how we're going to do our battery. And then we're going to pass these across and straight to the motor here. So let's finish that up.
More moments later.
We've got our power wires running through the inside here to right here. And then we've got our brushless motor leads. Now it's time to power it up and bind it and update it. The first thing you're going to have to do is update it. If you've updated your transmitter in any way, you've got to update the receiver portion. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. Now, updating the DasMikro receivers are a little bit more work than an official FlySky, but it's not a big deal. Basically, you just got to put the receiver into update mode, forced update mode. So you're going to take one of the leads that you got here, one of your servo wires, your JST ZH is what these are. The little guys that come with your receiver. You're going to put it into channel 4. Now, on this particular layout, channel 4 is the port right next to your power. And you're going to take your signal cable and you're going to touch it to this side of the bind button. The bind button is the first one, the topmost, the one closest to the receiver ports. So you're going to put it right next to it and touch it right on the board on the bind button, and then you're going to power it on. Okay? When you do that, you should get 3 little blinks. Make sure your wires here aren't touching. You don't want to short anything out. We're going to go ahead and set up our battery so that we can just kind of slide it in together. Get our power. We don't want it it's not actually connected yet because we need to be holding this. Because we don't need the tweezers. So we can just hold this again. to the bind on this side, on the inside portion. Just touch it to the board and then power on. And you should get blinks of the light. When you're blinking 3 times like that with a pause, that means you're in update mode. You can go into your receiver, go to your RX set, the very bottom, there's update receiver. You choose the FGR4S/FGR4P update, and then you should be able to run the update. Simple as that. Now our receiver is updated. Go ahead and unplug. So now we'll just go ahead and bind it. We'll pull this out because we don't need it anymore. And actually we'll plug in our servo just so we can see. It should be our channel 1. No, we're not going to leave that like that, but it'll work for now. You go into RX set, bind set, make sure you're on classic, OK, and start bind. Hold your bind button. Plug it in, and you're binding. Boom, done. I think our battery's a little low. Now we have to change our endpoints on this guy because the motorcycle really only needs just a little bit of movement here. So we are going to have to change our endpoints for sure, a lot. Yeah, we may have to recenter our servo horn. Seems like we're off a little. That's okay. This video is not about that. We are now going to show programming the ESC. Also, if you are interested in this little guy, make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the bell so you know when the video goes up for this. And if we already have the video up, we'll go ahead and put it up over here. You can just click that and check it out. If that's not there, well, we don't have the video up yet. So, all right, let's program this guy. So if you've just plugged everything in and your throttle's in neutral and things are working and whatnot, and you hold that set button for more than 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, you'll see it blink like that. That means that you've factory reset everything in here. So that means all of your different settings as far as your endpoints for your throttle and your drag brake and low voltage cutoff and all that kind of stuff is going to be factory reset. Okay. Not your update, it's not your firmware update, but your settings per se. All right, so to get into setting up your endpoints for your throttle, which is the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to hold the set button and plug it in. It's going to beep a couple times and let go. You can then hit your set button. It'll beep once. That's basically setting your neutral. Give it full throttle. Hit your set button again, it'll beep twice. That means your full throttle has been set. And then reverse, hit it again, and you go 3 times. Now your endpoints for your throttle and reverse are set. Now you can actually set up your endpoints wrong, and you'll see what happens. Basically, you end up under full throttle. So here, let me show you that. Go ahead and hook it up. Let go. So it beeped once green there, which means we should be setting our full throttle because neutral's already been set. Neutral is set the second you hit the button. So when it's beeping, 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 when you hit that button and get that green blink, that means you set your neutral. Now, if you mess up and you think that, oh, I didn't set my neutral, let me go ahead and hit the button, and it beeps twice, that means you just set your throttle. Okay? And then you're going to pull the trigger, you're going to hit it, and then when you let go, it's going to be in full reverse because you set up your endpoints wrong. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and reset this. You basically reset those endpoints by holding the bind button down while you're not giving it any throttle. Now everything's reset. Okay? So just know if you try to set your endpoints and when you let off, it gives full throttle, forward or reverse, you set up your endpoints wrong, and just try to go through the process again. So we'll do it one more time here. Hold the button, plug it in, get a couple beeps. We'll let go. Hit it once, it set our neutral, hit it again, it set our full throttle, hit it again, and we set our full reverse. Okay. All right, so now we'll go through the program menu. We don't need this anymore. To get into the program menu, you're basically just going to hold the set button down until it blinks green. And when it blinks green, it's going to blink green a number of times equal to the menu. And here, we'll go ahead and put the menu right up above here. That way you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll hold the bind button, or not the bind button, the set button, and we'll turn it on. And we're going to beep a bunch, blink a bunch, but it will eventually blink green once. And if I keep holding it, green twice, that means we're in the second menu. Green 3 times means we're in the third menu. 4 times, obviously 4. 5 is one long beep, which means 6 is a long beep and a short beep. Then we have 7, 8, one long and 3 shorts. 9, which is acceleration timing. And then 2 long beeps is overheat protection. And then we would end up back at 1. And if we let go on that 1, as soon as it beeps 1, we let go. Now we are in the menu or the programmable value for running mode. So the first one would be forward with brake. The second one is forward reverse with brake. And then the third one is forward reverse. And you can see right now it's automatically set to the default of forward reverse. So it beeps twice. If I hit the button again, now we're beeping 3 times, flashing 3 times, which means we have forward and reverse set. Okay. Now this process is a little tedious. And it's tedious because after every program menu setting that you set, you have to unplug and replug in and then get down to that menu again. So like right now, we want to go ahead and set running mode. We want forward with brake. And we'll go ahead and do the default setting, forward with brake and reverse. Even though on a motorcycle, you don't really use reverse. Sometimes we'll use it to spin back around if we're on our side to get it straightened up. So we got 2 beeps. And now all you do once you have your 2 beeps is you unplug it. Okay? Or reset your ESC if you're using if you have a switch on there, you know. So then we'll go back in, plug it in, holding the button, it'll beep a bunch. And now we're going to do drag brake. That's our first setting. That's our second setting. We'll let go. And you can see it blinks 1, 2, 3, 3 times, which means unlike our screen saying up here that we've got 0 as the default, apparently the default on here is 10%. So our drag brake is 10%. And we actually, for the motorcycle, we want it, I don't think we want to put it at 0. But we're going to put it to 1. And you can see here, it does the same thing. So we're on option number 5, 40%. It beeps 1 long beep for 5. 1 long and 1 short for 6. That's 7 is 80%. And 8 is 100%. So it'll be 1 long beep and 3 short beeps. We're on 1. And now we're on 2. Oh, I missed it. 2. So we want 2. We're just going to do a 5% very low drag brake because, well, we're a motorcycle. When we let off, we don't want it to come to a complete stop. And depending on how it drives when we drive it, we may end up putting it at 0. Or maybe we'll turn it up. All right, so then we unplug. And now we'll go into number 3. Now it acted different there because I turned off the receiver or the transmitter. Oops, I let go too soon. Right, we're on number 1. So let's do that again. When your transmitter's off, it takes a little bit longer because it's reading the receiver, I guess. I'm not sure. Just keep holding it down. You get into menu 1, menu 2, and menu 3. We let go, let beeped once, which means menu 3 is on no low voltage cutoff, which is not good. We want a low voltage cutoff. So we're going to set it to 1, 2. Well, I went to 2. Now we're on 3. We want 3.2 volts per cell, so we want 5. 1 long beep. There we go. And you can hit it fast to go through the menu quickly, right? So you can go 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want number 5, which is 3.2 volts per cell. Back off, and then we go back in again. We want to set our throttle neutral range, which is number 8. So we're going to wait for 8 beeps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like we're on the second setting for that, which is the normal setting, even though our sheet says the default is wide. We do want it on normal, I think. Okay. So we'll leave it on. We're going to put it on 2. So I wouldn't trust this sheet for what is default. I would go through and set all of your settings to what you want. I wouldn't trust the default because I think it depends on which ESC you've got or when it was made, things of that nature. I also think that this table is used for multiple brands of ESCs. I think a couple of different brands are kind of all using the same firmware or architecture, and they might just be having different default settings. So clearly the default settings for this ESC and this table do not match. So again, I would just go through the important stuff that I would go through it all, but at least go through the important stuff and get them set exactly where you want it, and then you can always change that later. Also, if you have a Hobbywing programmer card, you can plug it in, make sure you're the correct direction, negative, positive signal, and then put it into your channel 2, plug it in, and it should pop up some numbers here, and that tells you which item you're on. Menu item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all there. The DasMikro site mentions desoldering a specific point, but looks like you don't have to. It says when using ESC programming card, please disconnect the solder point marked in red. Connecting program card to channel 2 socket after programming, please reconnect the solder point. But it looks like it's working without doing that. We can go ahead and verify that. Let's just change our first item, which is running mode, and we can change it to forward with brake, which means we have no reverse. And then I believe you just hit set. Should set it. Let's go ahead and turn on our transmitter. And now we have no reverse. Forward with brake only. We want to set it to have reverse. Let's get back to item 1. And then set. Let's try setting again. We may have to restart. Let's unplug. Plug back in. Let's actually unplug this. We'll just reset everything, completely unplug the programming card, and let's see if we've got. Oh, we're still forward, and looks like we still have no reverse. So let's try plugging it again. Remember, you've got to keep it unplugged when you plug in your programming card, then plug it in. All right, so we figured out why it was acting goofy and it wouldn't set. And it's because our transmitter was on. And because it's a 2-in-1, it's using kind of the same ports. And so if you turn on your transmitter, it's not going to save. So once we turned on our transmitter and hit save, or turn on our transmitter to see that the setting changed, it did change, but then we couldn't change it back and save it because it won't save while your transmitter's on. So you can see here we've got our first running mode is set to forward and reverse. And if we turn on our transmitter, you will see we have forward and reverse with no brake. Okay, but we have to turn off our transmitter to make the setting change. So now we can go to just forward with brake, set. So you have to plug it back, you have to unplug it and plug it back in after you turn off your transmitter. That way it's not receiving anything. And then you can make your change and it'll set. Okay. And it'll have saved. You can see item 1, value 1. But if you turn on your transmitter at any time during the programming, to get it to save again, you have to shut off your transmitter, unplug, and replug back in. So it's best just to set all your settings with your transmitter off and then check everything once you've unplugged the Hobbywing program card. But you can use the Hobbywing program card and you don't have to desolder the back. I think they're recommending you desolder the back because of that signal mixing issue. If you turn on your transmitter, it's sending a signal for channel 2 and it's causing issues because the programmer port and the channel 2 port are shared on this combo card. So you don't have to desolder, just make sure your transmitter is off. All right, so we want reverse with brake. And then we can go through all of our different program menus. And remember, you're not using what's here. You've got to use this guy here. All right, we also figured we would try the Hobbywing over-the-air programmer since we have one. Should just switch our little plug-in here. And let's do this. It'll pop up that we can connect to our Hobbywing. That'll connect us to our programmer here. And we were able to go in and check our firmware where it pulled all of the firmware off of the ESC, and we were able to update the firmware. It was very out of date, so probably is a good thing to be able to go in there and at least update the firmware. So that's good. I think it took about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. But you'll see now that our firmware version matches our target. These are the different firmwares they offer. The firmware that this had on it wasn't even in this list. It was older than that. Actually, look. Oh, we're good. Yeah. 2.01 versus 2.09. We were 2.08, basically. So we should be good there. Now, we haven't tried doing any of the parameters, but let's see if it'll pull the parameters. It may not. Oh, looks like we might have something here. It looks like this is everything we had set, or at least close to it. Yeah, heat protection, we turned that on. Or drag force, yeah. Drag brake only. So it looks like it's working in that regard. Let's go ahead and try to change something. We'll do forward with no brake only again. We'll save, confirm. Says it successfully saved. Let's go ahead and unplug this. Well, we'll unplug here, unplug here. Plug it back in, turn on our transmitter, and we'll see if we have no reverse. So it looks like the over-the-air programmer also works. Turn it back off, unplug, plug everything back in, and we'll set our settings back. So that's awesome. You can also use the over-the-air programmer. Fantastic. So that is good to know. I'm not 100% sure if all these settings correlate to the exact same settings as our table, but you can experiment with that. At least we know it can connect and you can make some basic changes with it. The fact that the running mode changed is a good sign. And like I said, it also looks like a lot of this stuff is set to what we set it to. I kind of feel like this start mode we had set to a 5, but maybe not. I don't remember. Either way, like I said, maximum brake force we definitely did not have set to 100. That was set to 50. Let's save it. See if that saves. Okay, and let's try resetting. We'll disconnect and reconnect. We'll see if it saved it to 50. Maximum brake force 50. So that's fantastic. Yeah, definitely looks like it's saving stuff. So awesome, guys. Well, we're excited that all this is working. DasMikro has an awesome little, combo here. It's basically, I believe it's basically the PN 18 amp. I think I already mentioned that. But yeah, if you're looking for a small ESC receiver combo for your Noble, You don't even need the Noble Pro. You can use this guy, the older guy. Then this is a great option, especially if you can use all the Hobbywing programming stuff. Worst case, you always have the set button and you can go through manually. Even though it is tedious, you now know how to do that. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. If you did learn something from this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Share it with anybody that may have the same question. If you see it pop up in one of your groups and somebody's like, how do I deal with this thing? Send them a link to this video. Show them. That's what we made it for. Hopefully we're helping everybody out that has one of these. And yeah, let's just go ahead and put DasMikro in the comments below. And yeah, hope you guys get out there and do some cool RC stuff. All right. Until next time. Peace.